Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And look who is with me today. It is the one, the only, the immensely talented Alexander Zenoz. Thank you so much for joining me today, Alexander.
Thank you so much for having me, John. It's a complete privilege.
Oh, so much fun, so much going on right now. It's hot, so I enjoy being inside bars, inside theaters, all that where there's plenty of AC. And there's a new theater, or not a new theater, but a new production coming to a local theater out at Coral Springs, and you are starring. Am I correct in that?
You're correct on that.
Tell me a little bit about the show that's coming up.
So the show that we're putting up is called Evil Dead the Musical. If you're a fan of the original called classic films, then you're in for a treat. We'll be doing that with Envision Theater Company over at the Coral Springs Center for the Performing Arts. And you can go ahead right now and get your tickets online.
Um, Music. When I think of Evil Dead, I obviously think kick lines and chorus songs. What is the music for this show?
You're not too far off. There is a number called the Necronomicon. Sorry. Let me
It's a
repeat that so
mouthful.
we can cut that. There is a number called the Necronomicon. So it's kind of like a time warpy number, but the whole show's very satirical and very like laughter filled. And so it takes you through almost all the genres and tropes of musical theater sounds, but definitely always lending an ear to the rock kind of rock musical theater vibe.
Tell me about your character.
So I will be playing the lead character, Ash, or otherwise full name known as Ashley. If you haven't seen the movie, he pretty much goes up with his girlfriend, his best friend's hookup, who he's just hooking up with at the time. And of course, what is a spring break vacation without Ash bringing his little sister along with him too? And so they go into this abandoned cabin in the woods that they have not rented. They've decided to just break into a random cabin in the woods. And along the way, they find out that there are demons that have been unleashed inside this cabin, all stemming from this book called the Necronomicon. And so, as the demons take over each and every one of the individual members of this party, Ash has to deal with each new rising and kind of fight them and sing along or deal with everything and overcome these demons.
How do we incorporate music into that? And
In the
will we be able to hear the music over the laughter? Because from what we've talked about off camera, it sounds like it's going to be really good.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm usually a skeptical about stuff like this, but when you
Mhm.
really get into the material and you see what they've built, it's something that's just so ridiculously fun. And the music comes from moments where you don't even expect there to be music and almost like operatically like funny, like just the switch and the humor, making fun of musical theater as well, where music can just come out of nowhere at any moment, especially when someone's literally getting sawed in half to death with actual blood effects. Let me not forget all the blood effects, the endless blood effects that will be in this show. There is actually the first 5 rows of the whole entire production will be called and considered a splatter zone. So if
Mm.
you're going to be getting those seats, wear something that you don't love that much and make sure to bring a poncho because you're going to get wet and covered in blood.
Yeah, blood effects.
Oh yeah.
Blood effects. You're not actual blood. We're
No,
not
no, we
stopping
don't
at the
have enough
Red
money for
Cross
that.
on the way for props, right?
Yeah.
Now you're sort of what?
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
All you.
No, because you're sort of finding a little bit of a niche in this because you were in Big Easy Queens a couple years ago, and which has sort of just recently come back into prominence as it was shown during Pride Month on Hulu. And of course, that was a great Wilton Manors production. We do New Orleans better than New Orleans does New Orleans.
So
Um,
true.
so, did one sort of help open the door for the other? Are you just finding a kindred spirit or something inside of you for this?
It's funny. I think when the directors cast me, they had no idea about the movie. I think it
Oh,
was like in the middle of the movie landing on Hulu, and the the casting happening and they didn't know about it. So when they did cast me, I told them about it and they had looked it up and they're like, "Oh wow, couldn't have cast this better." And you know, so it ends up being such a great like shift into this. I do find that there was so much from Big Easy Queens, thankfully to, Eric Swanson and Aaron Dalton for giving me this opportunity and bringing me into the cult classics because I've always loved horror movies, really like all of them, anything spooky, anything horror related, but I never got the chance to watch Evil Dead. And even in our own movie, you can see that there's so many little like winks to the old cult classics. And it was moments like Miss Bouvier saying like, "I'm not going mad. I'm not going mad." It's literally straight out of Evil Dead. And it's so funny. And they did such a good job honoring it. And now to be able to take all that and to take an audience that loves Big Easy Queen so much and kind of, I don't know, marry the two together, it feels so fitting for me.
There's a fine line, especially because cult classic fans, horror fans, are they know their stuff. They know their material. And it's a fine line to walk sometimes between homage and camp versus just, making fun of it or just kind of like treating it and leaving it on the side of the road when the production's done. How do you thread that needle to make sure that this really hits home on all the right notes that you want it to hit?
I think it's one of those that you got to make sure who you're doing this for and what type of, audience you're doing this for. I got to talk to Ben Shavitz, Susie Toot about this when I was in P-Town performing this summer, and Susie was up there, sold out show after sold out show, phenomenal. And I got to talk about how Big Easy Queens, as well as Susie's drag icon, became something that was very attuned to queer audiences and neurodivergent audiences, and how they don't normally find spaces for themselves out there in this world. And so it's almost like you find this banner and this flag and this hidden nation of people coming together to just kind of make fun and be silly and find an intangible place that they can just meet and have common grounds and commiserate and have camaraderie. And I love this like vibe and energy that it brings. And I know that as long as I'm staying true to what brings this community together and what, speaks to them and what makes them feel like their voices are heard or they're seen in this environment, I know that we're doing justice to it.
You're absolutely right. And I'm looking forward to seeing the show. So I want to learn a little bit more about where you're coming from as a performer. So Jason and Friday the 13th or Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street?
I would have normally said Freddy, but Jason in space won me over.
Right?
Yeah,
Do they
that
do they even
whole
have time
frozen face getting crushed by the nitrogen, like iconic. Who could have imagined?
and like calendars and time and space, it's also I was required to do too much physics in my head to really appreciate it the way that you do. I think that's fantastic. Okay, better camp, Rocky Horror Picture Show, or Mommy Dearest?
Oh no. Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Mommy Dearest. Like, come on.
Better line from Mommy Dearest. I said no wire hangers ever. Or Tina, bring me the axe.
Tina, bring me the axe. Let's go.
That's you were absolutely right, by the way, in both your choices there.
Thank you.
All right, Alexander, thank you so much for joining me today. Break a leg
Thank you.
this coming month. It's September now already. I'm still trying to digest in my head. And I have a feeling, and I know there's nothing we can talk about right now, but I have a feeling we're going to be doing more interviews as we move into season and through November and the spring. Am I correct in that?
I definitely think we're correct in that, and I'm looking forward to it. You know how much I love you and spending time with you and chatting.
Oh, Alexander, thank you so much. All right, we are going to be at the Coral Springs Playhouse, right?
Center for the Performing
Center
Arts,
for
but
the
it's the
Performing
same.
Arts. See if I ever have to travel west of 95, I'm completely lost. All right. And it opens September 12th. I don't know when I am. September 12th, and we will see you there. I can't wait to get a seat and be there and cheer you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, John.